Hey guys, this is a video of my top 10 favorite movies of all time. I know it's been a long time and I've said I was going to do this hundreds of times, but I'm now finally going to get to it. So, yeah, I know I made a video a long time ago of my top 5 favorites, which those 5 are still in this top 10, but they're in just like different orders now. And of course there's 5 more movies that I've added in. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with number 10 and then go all the way to number 1. So the last one that you see is going to be my number 1 of all time. And another thing that I want to mention is my top 5 are in order, like from 5 to number 1 as being like my favorite, or as from being my least favorite to my favorite. But the bottom 5, sorry, but the bottom 5, however, are in no particular order. I just can't figure out what kind of order to put them in, so yeah, let's go ahead and get started. These first 5 aren't in any order, these are the bottom 5. The first one I've got for you is Dead Man Walking. I just discovered this movie not too long ago, maybe like 6 months ago I discovered this movie. And the first time I saw it I was really blown away, and the second time I saw it I had to put it in my top 10 because it was just that good. But yeah, this is a movie that not that many people know about, unfortunately. But it's a brilliant movie. It's a true story, or based on a true story anyway. It's about this guy that's on death row and is going to be executed for this terrible crime that he committed. And during like his last couple of weeks, he gets in contact with this woman who's a nun, and she agrees to be his spiritual advisor and is going to talk to him and help him during his last couple of weeks. And she's basically like getting through to him and is helping him come to terms with what he did, so that he can like die, die with dignity and things like that. And it's a very good and very powerful movie. I definitely suggest that you watch this. I've recommended this movie to a lot of people that haven't heard of it, and pretty much everybody that I've shown this movie to has been blown away by it as well. And you need to definitely watch this if you haven't already. It definitely does make you think, like afterwards. And it's definitely worth just buying, you know, as a blind buy. I know it's not very expensive at all. You can get it. I got this for like really cheap on eBay. I can't remember how cheap, but I just know it was cheap. And I know that the last time I checked, it's also available on Instant Watch on Netflix, so yeah, please check this movie out. I know that you definitely won't be disappointed with this movie. It's a very powerful drama, and it definitely makes you think afterwards, so I would really highly recommend this movie. And the next one I have for you is $1 Million Baby by Clint Eastwood. Just like Dead Man Walking, the first time I saw this I really liked it, but then the second time I had to put it in my top 10. This is another brilliant movie, which I'm probably going to say about every single one of these movies, so I hope it doesn't bother any of you. But yeah, this is by Clint Eastwood. It's about this woman named Maggie that doesn't have a very good life, and what happens is she ends up discovering that she really wants to be a boxer, and she wants to win like the championship, because that's basically all that she can ever do. And so she finds this trainer played by Clint Eastwood, and he doesn't have a very good life either, and so he agrees to train her, and he trains her really hard, and she ends up becoming this really excellent boxer, and she ends up going to like fight for the championship. And then like I can't really say it without spoiling it, but something happens, and then everything completely changes after that. Her whole entire life changes, and throughout the rest of the movie, Clint Eastwood's character starts to really change from like who he was in the beginning, and she also starts to change. And like I said, I can't really say anything else without spoiling it for you all, but definitely a very good movie. It's worth a watch, and it definitely deserved to win Best Picture. The next one I have for you is Scarface. Yeah, this is another really great movie. It's about this guy played by Al Pacino. His name is Tony Montana, and he's a refugee from Cuba. And basically, when he gets to the United States, he ends up, getting with the wrong people, like along with his friend. And what they do is they start like a big drug empire, and they want to get all kinds of money, and they commit all these crimes in order to get their money for what they do. It's actually quite hard to describe, but yeah, this is a very good movie. It's one of those movies where I watched it and I thought I wasn't going to like it, but I ended up really liking it. And I will admit that this movie does have parts where it's kind of, boring, but it's one of those movies where, like, it may have some boring parts, but the rest of the movie completely makes up for it and just makes it amazing. And that's why I have it in my top 10, is because it, even though it is boring in some parts, pretty much the rest of it is just excellent, and that's why I have to have it in my top 10. It's very hard to describe, but it is definitely a very good movie. It's definitely not for everybody. I know that a lot of people really hate on this movie, but, and I can sort of understand why people don't like it, but I really like it, and that's why I put it in my top 10. And the next one I have for you is Full Metal Jacket by Stanley Kubrick. Very good movie, definitely my favorite Stanley Kubrick movie. And I know that a lot of people don't really like this movie that much. This movie is basically about these people, these Marines, and it's basically split into two parts. The first half of the movie is about these Marines training to go into the Vietnam War. And that's basically what the whole first half of the movie is about, is their training and the things that they go through. And then the second half of the movie is them actually fighting in the war and showing like some of the things that are happening. And I know a lot of people only like the first half and they don't like the second half. And pretty much all the people that I've heard say that, they only like the first half of the movie just because the funny drill sergeant is in it, and then they don't like the second half because he's not there anymore. Which, I kind of find that a little bit childish, how people only like the movie just because of the drill sergeant. I mean, don't get me wrong, I absolutely love the drill sergeant. I thought he was hilarious. Definitely some of the funniest dialogue I've ever heard in a movie. But, even though he wasn't in the second half, it was still a brilliant second half of the movie. And it kind of ticks me off a little bit how so many people hate on it because, the drill sergeant isn't there anymore, and I just think that people need to give the second half more of a chance than they do, because, they watch the first half just to hear all the funny dialogue, and then that's it, they just turn it off and they don't watch the second half. And, that really bugs me because I know how amazing this movie is. I do like the first half a little better, but the second half is almost just as amazing, and I just wish more people realized that. So, yeah, there's Full Metal Jacket. And the next one that I chose in my top 10 is Pan's Labyrinth. Very good movie. This was in my top 5 video that I showed a long time ago, but it's been moved down a little bit. This is an excellent movie. I'm not a huge fan of foreign movies, but this is a really great one. It's about this little girl named Ophelia. She's forced to go with her mother to live with her stepfather that's not a very good person. And while she's there, she walks into this labyrinth and she meets this creature. And this creature tells her this story of this princess from long ago that was lost, and then there was a legend that said that one day she would return to the king and queen. And this creature believes that Ophelia is the girl that's supposed to return, and so in order for her to return, he gives her this magic book thing of 3 things that she has to do and do successfully in order to return to the king and queen. And basically the whole movie is about her trying to do those things. and then like the things that get in the way. And it's a very, very good movie. I know it might not sound that great, but it's one of those movies where you don't think it's going to be good, but then it turns out to be really good. So that's why I have it in my top 5. And now I'm into my top 5. And by the way, I meant to say top 10 after that one. But now we're actually into the top 5 part of my top 10. And these ones are in order from 5 to 1. The next one that I have to show you is American History X. I've seen this movie quite a few times, and I'm blown away every single time I watch it. It's a movie about this guy who is a racist, and he ends up with the wrong crowd, and he goes around and he harasses people and commits all these hate crimes. And then eventually he is put in prison for this hate crime that he committed, and while he's in prison, he ends up learning that what he did was wrong and the way he believed was wrong. And so then when he comes out of prison, he comes home and he finds that his younger brother is going down the exact same road that he did, and he's doing the exact same things that he was doing. And so he's trying to talk to him and teach him that the road he's going down is wrong and the way he's believing is wrong, and he's trying to keep him from having the same fate that he did, or worse. And it's a very, very powerful movie. I definitely highly recommend that you watch it. So there's that. And the next one that I have to show you is Terminator 2 Judgment Day. This one's very hard to describe, like without describing the first one, but I'll do my best. This movie, Terminator 2, is about this boy named John Connor, who is supposed to be this big military leader in the future when these computers and robots take over the Earth. And what happens is, like, the side with the machines, what they do is they send a Terminator, which is a half man, half machine. They send this Terminator back through time to kill John Connor so that he never grows up and he never becomes this military leader against them in the future. And in order to keep that from happening, the human side also sends back a Terminator to protect him from the Terminator that's trying to kill him. And so basically the whole entire movie is just like, the one Terminator trying to kill John Connor, but then the other Terminator trying to protect him. And also about how John and the Terminator who's protecting him are growing closer and closer throughout the movie. It's a very, very good movie, very action-packed. You should definitely see the first one before you watch this one, though, so that, it'll make more sense. But yeah, this is a very good movie. Now, number 3 is Kill Bill Volume 1. Another very good movie, like I've said about all the others. This is a movie about this woman played by Uma Thurman. She's part of this assassination squad, and she leaves them and she gets married, and the squad feels betrayed by her, and so what they do is they ambush her at her wedding and they try to kill her, but they end up putting her in just a coma instead, and she's in a coma for 3 years, and then when she wakes up, she remembers what happened, what took place right before she went into a coma. And also she realizes that her baby that she was pregnant with that is no longer there, and so basically right after she wakes up, she goes out and she goes to Japan and she gets training in martial arts, and then after that she goes out and she's looking for all these people involved in the attack, and she's going to kill every single one of them in order to get her revenge. And basically she'll do anything, and she'll kill anybody that gets in her way from getting her revenge. And very action-packed movie. You definitely have to be in the mood to watch it, though. Sorry, I'm getting a cold. You definitely have to be in the mood to watch it, though, in my opinion, but it's still a great movie. Hold on a second. Sorry, I'm really congested. Now, number 2, this one actually almost knocked off my number 1 movie, but not quite, and it is The Green Mile. And yeah, I saw this movie once a really, really long time ago, and I absolutely loved it, and then I didn't see it for like another 2 or 3 years, and about a year ago I finally watched it again, and I was just blown away, and instantly I had to put it at my number 2 spot on my top 10. And it almost knocked off the number 1, but like I said, not quite. But yeah, this is a great movie. It's about this guy named Paul Edgecombe. He's played by Tom Hanks, and he works at a prison, and he works in the death row section of the prison called the Green Mile. And anyway, like, they get this inmate in on death row named John Coffey, and this inmate, like, unlike all the others, he completely changes everybody because he has these special powers, which they're healing powers, and with these powers he completely changes everybody, and he helps a lot of people, and that's about all I can describe about it, but it's a very, very good movie, very sad movie, and I definitely highly recommend that you see this. And my number 1 favorite movie of all time, which I'm sure you all know by now, it is The Shawshank Redemption, which I'm going to kind of describe this fast because I'm running out of time, but anyway. Yeah, this is another brilliant movie. The Shawshank Redemption, it's about this guy named Andy Dufresne who gets sent to prison, to a Shawshank prison, and while he's in there he ends up meeting Red, who's another inmate, and basically the movie is about his life in prison and his experience in prison and all the good and bad things that happen there, mostly bad things though. And yeah, it also shows his relationship with Red, and also his relationship with some of the other inmates, and a lot of the bad things that happen, which, you know, I can't really describe without spoiling it. But yeah, this movie's pretty hard to describe, but it's definitely my number 1 favorite movie of all time. It blows me away every single time I watch it, and honestly, you know, if you haven't seen this movie, I really, really think that you're missing out, because it's just a really, really brilliant movie. I've told a lot of people about this movie, and I've showed a lot of people, and every single one of them so far have absolutely been blown away by it, just like I was. And